In this video help, what I'm going to address is the retail sales by the store owner. The way this works is the store owner would add their name in the consignor record and create their own record. It would then create a consignor ID, and then when you start adding IDs or numbered items, it'll automatically assign the consigned item ID. Normally when you set in a regular consigned record, all this information would be added in this order. You'd put the date, the item name, you would put in the quoted value, you would put in the sell price that should sell at, you would do the discount would only be done during the actual sale. There would be nothing sold to this point, and it would be for sale. And in this case I gave it a category of miscellaneous. I added the general tax in there, and when I put in the 25, it automatically added the 25 over here. When I add it in here, it creates 25 all the way down the row. Now if this was a standard consignment record, you would put in, say for example, 0.1, which would be 10%, 0.2 for 20, and 0.3 for 30, which would give it a 10, 20, and 30% discount on the appropriate dates. Then you could put in 30, 60, 90, and 104, which is the standard way of doing break prices at those indicated dates, and it would automatically put in the date for that individual break time. So 30 days from May 1st would be May 30th, and that would be the first 10% discount on that date. So you're going to see 10% here, and that'd be on the 30th date range. Okay. Now, since we have the record set up as a standard record, we also need to add the consignment breakpoint as far as what it's going to break at. Normally when you open the record, there would be nothing in here. It would be blank. So when you go to the commission, it would be 0. Nothing in there. Well, because you don't want to assign the commission to the consignor and you want to consign it to the store, put in 0. And you'll see what it does. It automatically makes the store percentage 100%. When you sell the item, if there were any fees due to the consignor, that would show here, and then the commission paid to consignor. In this case, it would be a regular consignment until we turn it into a retail record. And we're going to do that in the next screen. You can paste in an image by saying copy paste or insert either from the iPad or from a desktop if you have that type of application. The next thing you want to do is, in this case, you could put the quantity of items each in here that you're going to have for this particular retail item. Now the difference between the retail and the consigned item is there's a quantity of these items, and there may be 1 to the number of duplicate records that we're going to add to the retail side for sales for the main store customer, who is the owner of the store, and their commissions. Now the way we're going to do that is we're going to go ahead and maybe assign that there's going to be 10 of this item. So let's put in 10. With 10 in there, it says a number each of 10, so there's going to be 10 items like this when we get done, and we're going to have to create 9 more records. How do we do that? Well, the way you do that is to go over to the portal record for this row and click on the portal. And when you come into the portal record, you're going to see that we're looking at the number 1 ID record. Okay, if this is a retail item, it's for sale and it has not been sold, and it's item number 1, that 1 number will change to the next sequential number for a consigned item in the database. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead first of all, and we're going to put a 0 in here. The reason we put a 0 in is that if there were already a price in here for a sell price, it would automatically consider that as a sale, and it would have put the $25 into the commission and everything that's being sold. If we put a 0 in there, what it's going to do, it's going to say that the next new record that is created will not have a sold value. It'll still be 0. The way you're going to see this is if you create the record by copy add and you don't have anything in there, it's going to add the $25 into here as though it was sold, and then it's going to be an error. You're going to have an error. Now you have some options here. You can say retail item 1 of 10, and you could say 2 of 10 for the next one, 3 of 10 for the next one. That is optional, but you're really going by the consigned item ID as for the record, because when you create a tag and put it on the item that is in the store, that item ID identifies the item that's being sold, and the consignor ID identifies the consignor who is selling the item. So let's go ahead and say, let's add a new record that'll duplicate this record, but you'll see that the consignor ID is going to change. So I come over here to copy and add new, and you'll see that it went to item number 92, and it copied everything in the record as though we saw it before already. Everything is identical with the exception that the next consignor ID was used in this case. Now this says that there was consignor date sold. We need to remove that because there is no consignor date sold, and in this case it shows the item 1 here as though it was sold. Turn that to 0, and you'll see that what it does is it removes the item from the screen, and item 92 is not sold, and now we're at a next sequential record. Now if I were to continue and I wanted to add all new items that were retail that I'm adding to inventory for the store, I would create the next record here, not in the consigned item IDs, because every time I duplicate a record by, say, copy add, I'm actually adding that record back into the individual records in the consigned items. So for example, if I return to the record I was just viewing, you'll see I'll go over here and say consignments, and you'll see now that the second retail item is in here by item 92, and now we've created the same retail item and duplicated it in the record at a 0 cost for sale. Everything else is set up identical to the record that was created before. Now what is the difference? As I stated before, if a person brings up the item and the item is either item I1 or whatever the number is for the ID on the tag, or 92, you would know which item you're selling. Now the next thing you would do once you have that retail item in there is to go ahead and duplicate the additional 8 records in the portal record, where it would add them into the individual consignment portal items. These are each individual item where the portal is the one for the item you're looking at on the screen. So if I click this, you'll see that this is number 92. If I add the next one, it'll be 93, and so forth. So you would add the next 8 records, making sure that the quantity of retail must be set to 0 in the new record. You'd set this as 0, then you would identify to make sure that the sold at price is 0, because these items are not sold yet, and then set the consigned status to for sale. And of course you can add your own category just like you did before. And just to verify it, you want to pop up and make sure that you have your consigned 100% to the store and it's for sale, and you can see that in this area here, and it's not sold yet. Now you can navigate to the invoice. For example, if you're in this record, you can go to back to the main screen, click on edit invoice, and you can see in the actual invoice when you're creating the record and you click on it, you'll see the item, the top one is item 1, and so forth through the numeric numbers of the items that are in the inventory. And if you look at the actual record, you'll see the quantity is 0. And when you're selling the item, you would obviously put the quantity of whatever you're selling, 1 or whatever. It automatically adds the name, the price. If you want to put in a discount now, you'd put it in here. That would then be reflected in the portal record for the individual record, and also in all the records that are itemized in the consigned record ID. So the sold at price, you would set the sold at price. In this case, if you did sell it for 25 and then you discounted it, whatever you discounted it would adjust the sold at price. Make sure you put the date sold in. Make sure that the tax is applicable, that it was added or not. Then go to the consignor ID. In this case it was 15, and then check your record here, pop it up, and make sure that the date and then the date sold needs to be filled in, and then you change the status if you're actually selling it to sold. Now if you click in this on the iPad and it's blank or has for sale in it, if you click on it, you can click on S in the keyboard, it'll automatically replace it with sold. Or you can type sold. No, you really can't. You just have to pick it on the iPad. If you're on the desktop, if you type in sold, it'll put, or S, it'll put in sold. And then you can go back to the portal if you want to go to the portal record for that item and see everything on the portal record from here. You have to create invoices. A lot of my users, when they first start out, don't think that they need to do invoices. You can click on the invoice for any one item to go to that item, and then check in the invoice where that item was sold, whatever invoice it was sold on. It'll automatically go to that record. You also have this field here, which pops up the individual item record and shows you that it's been sold. You can click invoice to go back. These are just ways to navigate around. And then fill in your buyer payment record, the payment date, payment due, amount paid, the balance due, and how it was sold. Okay. If you have any questions, as usual, you can always contact me. directly. Make sure that you edit your records to have your store information here, and by clicking on this you can insert a picture of your logo in here as well. Okay, if you have any questions, contact me. Thank you.